Jessie Norman.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I'm grateful to all those who have taken part in this debate on this section of the Finance Bill in the report stage. Let me pick up several of the issues that have been raised, starting with the super deduction. You will be aware, Madam Deputy Speaker, as I think some members of the opposite benches are not, that this has been described by the CBI as a real catalyst for firms, by the British Chambers of Commerce as particularly welcome the massive super deduction investment incentive. And they're absolutely right to do that. And it is a terrible shame that the Labour Party has decided to try to tarnish the super deduction, a measure from which many capital-intensive businesses around this country, and especially in the north, the northwest, the northeast and the Midlands, will benefit. This is a measure that, as the Member for Devizes rightly picked up, benefits local businesses up and down the UK. He picked on Wadworth's, a well-known brewer, and rightly so, but there are many, many other businesses for which this will be true as well. And he was absolutely right to highlight that. Let me come on to questions of wider taxation, if I may. There seems an astonishing level of ignorance on the opposite bench, Madam Deputy Speaker. They seem to be unaware that the tax gap, that is the difference between the amount of tax actually collected and the amount of tax that could potentially be collected, is at its lowest rate in our recorded history at the moment, at 4.7%. And it may be of some interest to point out to them, for them they can reflect on this, that in 2005-06, under the Labour Party government, it was at 7.5%. So it has fallen, I'm pleased to say, dramatically, and tax that was not being collected by the Labour government at that time is now being collected by the Conservative government of the present day, and very good thing too. And that's a record that they should, I think, spend some time pondering on. The fact of the matter is that this government has always made it plain that it is going to be very tough, as tough as it can be, to collect the tax that is due and to make sure that corporations and individuals pay it wherever they are due to pay it. And that is why, let me come on to the point that's been raised by the gentleman opposite and others, let me come on to the question of the G7. We have always made plain, we have stated in public, we have stated at this in this chamber, we have stated in public communications that this government supports both parts of the OECD proposals. That is to say, the proposal Pillar 1 and Pillar 2. And it's very important to be clear of that. The honourable members opposite quote the Financial Times' recent article. I would remind them that it says that the US proposals have now opened up room for a compromise. This is a good start. I pick up the point mentioned by the member for Cambridgeshire South, where he said, of course, you don't always discuss everything you want to when negotiations are underway, which they presently are. As the FT says, it's a good start. It's essential now to reach a satisfactory agreement. Perhaps when the member opposite speaks, he might care to tell us whether, if a deal is agreed with the US, according to the proposals that have been put forward and that are being shared and discussed at the moment, will the Labour Party welcome that? What could be potentially one of the landmark moments in global corporate taxation. So that is what we are doing. And in so doing, we are merely following up a tradition and a pattern of leadership that this government has exercised over many years, in fact. Let me just pick up some points. Leadership on base erosion and profit shifting. Leadership in the G20 for a comprehensive global solution based on the two pillars we've described. Leadership now in the presidency that we have of the G7. And before that, the diverted profit tax, the corporate interest tax restrictions, the requirements for large businesses to publish their tax strategy. Even last year, the digital services tax. In this present bill, a plastic packaging tax. We are constantly innovating in order to seek to improve the quality, the payment of taxation, and to ensure that it is paid in the due amount by those who are due to do so. And that is what this bill does, and therefore that is why I commend these measures to this House.